everyone. Welcome to another episode of Untempered. Today is a little bit different. Today, I'm getting interviewed. Now, I'm going to tell you how this came along. I'm here with my friend Simone Ferretti,
Hello, yes, correct.
obviously Italian. We met recently on a photo shoot and we were just kind of talking. And you said you listened to my podcast before.
Yes.
And you said to me, it's really weird because you always interview guests, but no one has ever interviewed you. So I said, would you like to interview me?
And I said, yes.
Yeah, challenge accepted. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm really good. Yeah, we a little backstory. You were recommended to me by somebody, one of my followers, when I was like looking for a really good photographer in Dubai and videographer and creator, because there's a lot that you do. It's not just photography. And then we ended up connecting. We've done the Formula One together. We've done some photo shoots together. We are going to be working together overseas as well. So yeah, and then I was really flattered that you've listened to my podcast and you gave me the idea that maybe I should be interviewed.
Yeah, that's actually funny. The reason why I listened to your podcast in the first place is, as a videographer, I try to really understand the person that is in front of me so that maybe I can tailor the type of content that I create for that person. I think you have a very interesting story, and, talking with about different things with you, then I'm like, okay, this might be interesting for a podcast for yourself.
Yeah.
So
thank you. No, I'm excited. I'm actually a little bit nervous because I never usually get interviewed.
all right,
So
it's going to be the first time then.
yeah, let's go. So did you prepare questions for me?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's very interesting because obviously we've talked about a few things and we have very different backgrounds. And the other day when we were speaking about happiness in general, then I think we had different views. The main reason is because I have a different background regarding relationship. My family has always been there for me, whereas for you, maybe it's a little bit different. So I was wondering, what is happiness for you? Like, how would you find happiness in your normal life?
I think it took me a long time to be even able to understand the word happiness because because of my background, I've become so overly ambitious and I've set myself some very high expectations and goals in life that up until I'm 33 now, up until 2 years ago, I realized that I set myself up for unhappiness by doing that. I've made it so impossible for me to achieve the goals that I set because I thought I was going to be successful. I'm being overambitious. That's a good thing, right? That means I'm going to be striving always for more. However, that really made me misinterpret what happiness is. I understood as time went by that happiness is about the little things. And if you set that word on the contingency of achieving a goal, you will never be happy. If you say, I'm going to be happy when I film a movie in Hollywood, when I get this promotion, when I have the third kid, when I do this, all of these things are literally you saying out loud, I'm setting myself up for failure, because happiness should be something that you have with you as a weapon. It's within you and you're able to be content in small, tiny moments. That's something I wish I could have told myself back then. I'm really trying to focus on that. Just being able to be in a present small moment and being happy with the littlest, tiniest things rather than make it a contingency for something in the future. So I definitely started redefining happiness. And now I would say it's the little things and it's what you carry with you. It's how you're able to view an achievement, whether it's something super, super small or whatever it is. Even the smallest achievements, you should say, well, let me take a moment and give myself credit for that and be content and happy with the fact that I've worked so hard to get here. And I'm going to just use this moment to be within it and be happy.
And what made you realize that it's not about the final goal, but it's about the small things? Because you said, let's say 2 years ago, your perspective changed. Then was there a moment where you said, okay, now I understand?
Yes, it was many moments. I was chasing highs and chasing achievements and chasing goals. And every time I achieved that thing, I was like, wait, I'm still depressed. I'm still sad. I'm not feeling like there's something, oh, okay, let me set a new goal now. Maybe when I get to that goal, I'm going to be happy. And then I would get to that goal and realize that I felt just as empty inside, if not even more, because now I'm 2 goals in and I'm still feeling the same. So I started to kind of like dive into, why is that? Why am I not getting the fulfillment from these things that are supposed to fulfill me? And I realized that it's not the thing, it's not the end goal, it's not reaching that finish line. It's actually the things that you do and feel and remind yourself to be in touch with on the way to that thing.
So throughout the process rather than just the
Yeah.
end goal.
Absolutely. I think a good example would be tunnel training. For example, in skydiving is such a difficult sport, and it takes people years, 10, 20, sometimes even 30 years to be a perfect skydiver or a competitor, whatever. It's such a hard sport to be good at. And I used to beat myself up all the time. I would still make a tiny move, and rather than be like, wow, I worked so hard to actually achieve this little thing, I'm really happy today, I would walk out of the tunnel kicking myself like, oh, I should have done that better. The I should have was so heavy on me, so heavy on my heart. I would drive back, listen to sad music, be like, I didn't work hard enough, I didn't do it. And now I'm watching my videos again, which I never used to do. I thought, I don't want to look at that. I know I did it badly. It's like I'd watch it and be like, oh, okay, that was good. Oh, that was good. Small taps on the back were more encouraging rather than continuous self-deprecation and saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. So it's adjusting that inner voice on the way to the finish line.
And where does this inner voice come from? Is it related to your background? Why do you always ask for more? Did you, let's say, because maybe now you change your perspective a bit.
I still struggle and I'm still working on it, but my inner voice is the lack of self-worth that resulted from my childhood. I read somewhere that your inner voice is actually your mom's voice. And I think it was very cruel. So I never felt good enough, ever felt good enough. And I still, to this day, struggle with that feeling. And that's why I've had to redefine and recreate words that everyone else says, well, being happy means promotion, being more money. With this, I knew that no matter how hard I worked, I'm always going to be feeling that way because it's deep rooted within me. And I had a tough childhood, and it made me constantly feel like I'm not worth it and I'm never going to be good enough. And yes, that made me work harder. However, the happiness never came because that was so deep in within me, that feeling. And I needed to work on that feeling rather than work on the material things in life. Or else I would have died feeling not good enough.
And you lived a bit in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did your, like, let's say, people around you, maybe the city, did it affect anyhow this type of like mood that you had when you were a bit younger?
Yeah, LA is a very tough place because it's like a race of wolves. That sounds a bit mean, but it's not. Like, it really, if you live in LA, like no matter what industry you're in, there's a lot of competition. Everybody's trying to climb. There is a lot of opportunity, which is why people usually go there. But for the mindset, living in a consistent climb or in a hierarchy of ladders and social climbing is not good for the soul. So I think you have to have thick skin in LA. And the feeling of not being good enough was extremely magnified when I was living there. So if I had kept with that, I don't know where I would be now. I think I would be very depressed and I would be really, really struggling internally to ever feel like an achiever. You never feel like you're an achiever if everyone else is trying to get the same thing in the same race and everyone is viciously at it. So I do think we need to step back a little bit and take a moment to assess our environment and assess what it's doing to our mindset. And for me, that meant moving out of LA.
That's very interesting because at the same time you moved out of LA, but then with social media, you're one of the OGs. Allow me that term, right? You
Yeah.
started quite early compared to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm also in the social media space, I understand and I know that it's extremely tough with the competition, with like comparing to others and so on and so forth. So, how did these things affect you regarding your feelings? Social media, LA, moving out, different, like difficult background.
The way you just described it all, you can see how I was chasing something
Yeah,
different all
yeah.
the time. And I was so empty inside. I felt so empty. And something that makes you feel even more empty is comparison. And a lot of people now are saying, don't compare yourself to others, whatever. But it's easier said than done, especially when you're in an industry where you have to compare yourself to others because you are in a niche. Everybody's creating similar content. You have to watch. I used to tell myself this lie that I'm doing homework when I'm scrolling through my social media. I'm just doing homework. I'm just looking at what everybody, I'm getting inspo. But the constant comparison is like poison to the brain. And I'm constantly telling my brain, which already thinks I'm not good enough, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Look, they did better. They did better. It's always going to be a perception of someone else is doing better. And I did the most extreme thing. Leaving LA was the perfect example of escapism. I wasn't happy. I knew there was a toxic environment, but rather than dealing with the things, the deep rooted issues, trying to work on myself, trying to surround myself with better environments and better people, maybe stepping out of that social ladder that was so scary, I just packed up my stuff and I left. And that's classic me. I just escape. I'm an escape artist. And that's something also that I'm working on right now because I realized it 2 years ago. I'm like, I've lived in so many places and I keep running to the next spot. But really, the issue is not the spot, it's not the location. Maybe it's how I deal with the location. Yes, some of them are harder than others, like LA is very tough to live in. But with a good mindset, imagine how much better we can face challenges, especially social challenges. Now I know, like, I know what to tell my daughter about comparison. I'm going to build the foundation now in her head of how she should view herself and others. Celebrate others, collaborate with others rather than compete and distance or despise. There are ways to see others and just say, good, they're doing good. I'm on my own path. I don't need to be on their path. They're in a different stage in their life. I'm in my stage.
Going back to between relationship and like things that you do in a daily life, how much Kali changed your idea of happiness?
How much has Cali changed my idea of happiness? My gosh. I mean, before Cali, I think for a very long time, I didn't want to be alive. I just didn't find a purpose. I didn't have a reason. I felt like I was, like I said, chasing happiness, which just felt like such a weird, faraway thing that I was just not going to be able to achieve. And when you see a child enter this world and giggle at just a dog wagging their tail and just giggle because the cloud looks funny, and then I just do this with my hair and she thinks it's hilarious. It brings you back to all these things that just brings you back to earth. And it's like it's nice to be self-aware. It's good to understand that we need to work hard and that we need to be successful and whatever. But in the end, we have a certain time on this planet. And if we forget the little things that make us happy, we're literally just creating depression. I would watch her have this pure happiness from the simplest things. And then me smelling her, holding her, putting her on me, the oxytocin, the dopamine, all these amazing emotions of just feeling my child on my chest and hearing her little heartbeat or carrying her for 9 months. It just feels like, whoa, actually, what is life about? We're supposed to procreate and be happy and raise children. We're supposed to be a tribe. We're supposed to stick by each other. It's all about family. It takes you back, definitely takes you back and makes you think, okay, whoa, all this big races. I'm trying to race my whole life to be better and do this and get this. And achieve this and create this. It's like do. That's all I'm telling my brain. Do things. I'm not saying stop, breathe, feel, and take a moment. And that's what motherhood does to you. Even the challenging parts, you're just thinking, look at her struggling to understand her own emotions. I need to be the one who's helping her navigate her own emotions, right? So how am I going to do that if I'm already in a mess of chaos and overachieving? No, I need to take a moment and change my mindset to a peaceful, calm, patient mindset, which is all inner work.
And was that the turning point regarding your happiness understanding, let's say?
Yeah, that was a turning point. I think Callie gave me purpose as well. And she gave me purpose, not just like purpose in life, a purpose for me to stick around and become stronger. Because for a lot of times when you're on your own, you do have the tendency to feel like, oh, I just want to give up. But when you have a child, the responsibility and the love you have for them is, the love you have for them is unmatched. It's unmeasurable. And you want to be the best version of yourself. That's what Callie did with me. I constantly am striving to become a better version of myself. And part of it is why I'm doing this podcast. This is like my little university. I get to like sit here and have great conversations and deep connections with people and talk about stuff that people don't really want to talk about, like childhood trauma and how it's shaping us. That's huge. She's the root of all of that, the purpose.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And regarding goals, do you still set yourself goals right now after you understood all of these small things?
Such a good question. Yes, absolutely. I set myself goals, but it's like doing a to-do list, right? I used to make to-do lists with 35 things on them. Wake up in the morning, I'm going to do these 35 things. What is that? That is setting myself up for failure. It's over ambition, and it's basically going to put me in a chaotic spin where even if I achieve 15, which is a lot of things to achieve in one day, I'm still going to feel like I'm not enough. Now, I wake up, I prioritize. And of course, Callie comes first. After she goes to school, I give myself 2 tasks and I try to finish them. I have ADD. It's very hard for me to finish a task. I have to very much really, really focus. It's exhausting. I can feel myself sweating just trying to get past the 20% of a task. But it's only 2 tasks. And by the middle of the day, I'm encouraged, I'm positive, and I feel fulfilled already because I've finished those 2 tasks rather than having a list of things. So I have goals, but I've laser focused my goals a little bit more rather than spreading them all over the place and doing way too much.
Okay, I like that because you said focus. How much focus is actually critical to reach happiness?
Oh,
Meaning
yeah.
that if you spread yourself too thin, then you're not going to accomplish anything, and you're going to feel you're a failure in all the different tasks that you just left there without even completing them.
Yeah. And also it's the focus in each thing that you do. So for example, sometimes it's, do you want to finish the task as fast as possible or do you want to enjoy doing the task? I'm asking you, which one do you want?
Well, depends on the task, I guess.
Depends on the
'Cause
task.
sometimes I like something and I want to just stay there as much as I can. Sometimes I just want to get it done.
Exactly. I think whatever task it is, for me, I try to enjoy doing it, feel it, stop, focus on it. And then when it's done, for some reason, it feels a lot more productive than me being like, okay, let's just do this. Let's get it out of the way. I just need to get this done. Boom, moving on. It's like we're not living, right? Living is being in the moment. So even when you're trying to work on something, if you don't actually take a moment to actually immerse yourself in that moment, I feel like you have a little bit of a like something missing in the end. Like, oh, I've done 20 tasks today, but I haven't focused on any of them. I just was trying to get them done. I think my example for this would be skydiving. For example, I used to just be in the tunnel when I'm training and do a move. Okay, let's do a move. Do this move. Oh, I did it. Cool. But did I know exactly where my finger was, my arm was, my leg? Did I feel the wind on my shoulder? How did I turn? Did I just make the move and make it happen and get out of the way? Or did I actually enjoy it like a dance?
Yeah, that's a good example.
Mm.
And now that you touched upon skydiving, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Where does it where does it fit in your happiness parameters? Let's say skydiving. How important is it? Why do you do it?
Actually, it's such a good question because I don't know if people know this, but the first time I ever skydived was the most depressed I've ever been in my life. And I felt like I had nothing to lose. I wasn't in a relationship. I wasn't in connection with both my parents. I was on my own. I had a broken heart and I felt like I was just in pieces. And in a way, I've never really shared this, but I was hoping that that parachute wouldn't open on my first jump. I was that low. What it did was it gave me confidence in myself because when you're that low, you literally you do not believe in yourself at all. You are a big, huge ocean of self-doubt. And the second that the parachute did open, and once I did land, and once I did pass that class, a class closer to my license, I felt like, again, purpose. It made me happy. It made me understand that I could save my own life. I really liked the fact that I could actually trust myself jumping out of a plane and landing with my 2 feet. It gave me hope to start again. And from that, now we're 7 years or 6 years later. And now I want to achieve the little things that we're talking about, which is doing basically a choreography in the tunnel and becoming a better skydiver. But before, yeah, it grew slowly. It was like, I want to get as many jumps as I want. Come on, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to be like them. Again, comparison. And now it's like, I would really enjoy spending time in the tunnel with other skydivers in this community and learn and train and keep working at it. So maybe making my goals in it more realistic really did put me in a better state of mind.
I know a lot of people that didn't have that kind of turning point in their life because maybe they were not in such a bad state as you were. Personally, I had some tough times in my teenage years, let's say. Also, when I finished high school, I moved to Hong Kong with 2,000 euros in my pocket. And it was such a low moment for me because I felt completely broke, but I wanted to stay in Hong Kong so badly. And I made it happen. I actually made way more money than I would ever dreamed of. Now, do you think everyone should have that low point in order to become truly happy and change their life?
Another great question. I think true adversity is when you don't have a backup plan. If this is literally all you had and that was your only hope was going to Hong Kong, you couldn't fail. You just couldn't. You had to make it, right? And that's what rock bottom really is. And you won't feel that turning point if you keep having somewhere to lean back on, some person who's funding you, a partner, a safety comfort zone. If you have a comfort zone that you're leaning back on, if this thing doesn't work, you're never going to make this thing work. If this is your only option and your only way is to make this work for you, there's no other way to go. You will be motivated. You will be ambitious. You will be so driven and you will stop at nothing to achieve your goals. So I think that's what a turning point really is.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that like very much because I think I had such a strong experience that really changed my life. But in my head now I'm thinking, okay, in 10 years, I'm going to have a kid. And this kid is way more privileged than I used to be at his age. How do I make that happen?
I ask
Like,
myself
do you
that every
want
day.
do you want your daughter to suffer somehow, to go through such a strong adversity so that she can understand?
This is such a good question again, because I say this to myself every single day. I don't want her to feel pain. I don't want her to go through half of what I've been through, and I don't want her to suffer. However, I do genuinely believe that suffering is the root of motivation. If you don't suffer, you won't want anything. And when you don't want anything, then you're just basically existing. There's no need for you to strive for anything better because everything is delivered to you. And like you said, privileged. So I think what I've told myself when I was thinking about exactly that, probably at 3 a.m. and it's thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my daughter to be motivated when she lives in Dubai? I mean, everything's available for her here. You know, I'm trying to protect her even more because of what I've been through. And I realized that I'd have to have a really good strategy in parenting, and I'd have to make her work for things. And for example, I start doing it now. Rather, when you go to a house now of parents, right? You see parents, you go to their house, there's toys everywhere. There's books, toys, all kinds of activity spots where there's like coloring and things. It's literally like, you know, Toys R Us threw up on the room, right? I tried to take that away. I don't do that at home. Our home is a home. And whenever she has the focus and she's ready to spend time with me, we take out one toy. And she has to work to get that toy. And she works with it. And when she's done with it, she has to clean it up, tidy it up, and put it back herself. And that's it. That's the activity for the day. So rather than over giving and throwing everything on them and having them have this choice of, do I want this or do I want that? You can reincarnate life struggles by showing them that they have to work for their toys, for their rewards. She doesn't just get an iPad whenever she's bored, right? She's goes on a walk, she does an activity outside, and then she works up to getting her screen time. So everything feels like it's not just handed to her. She feels like she has to work for it. And I think that's super, super important, especially for kids who are privileged.
Now, I understand for a child, but what happens when I'm 25, I'm 30, and I still haven't had that turning point? How do I put myself in a difficult situation? And I'm not talking about for myself because I think I found my way, but I have a lot of friends and they're like in that limbo where they never really had that incredible experience like you had, that you felt like, okay, dang, this is it. This is going to change.
Well, that's the turning point itself, is the limbo. Knowing that you're not moving forward and you're stagnant and you're not growing, that's the turning point. You don't need to crash and burn. You just know, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I need to find a purpose. First thing to do, inner work. Find out the root cause of why you're in limbo. Are you not taking risks? Is there some risks that you're afraid of taking? Is there some fear over moving out to this place or meeting this person or talking to these people? Or that's something that limbo is comfort zone. What's keeping you in your comfort zone? That's your turning point right there.
And if you could give me one tip to get out of my comfort zone at that age, let's say 25 to 30, which is when you also understood that life can be happiness, let's say.
Whenever you feel like you want to say no because you have so many reasons to say no, eliminate all those reasons. Just do it. Just become a yes man, honestly. Like, there's so many, our brain can only think in the negative. You can only think of the things because that's how it protects us. It tells us, don't do that because you might fall off. Don't do that because you might die. Don't do that because you might be anxious. Don't do that because you're going to be surrounded by people you don't know. So it's a high risk to take. All these risk things, it's your brain trying to protect you, but you're also the boss of your own brain. You can tell your brain what to think by just thinking it. And you can say, no, I'm going to do it anyway. Yes, I might. This might happen. This might happen. It doesn't matter. If you're not going to do it now, you're never going to do it. So you just have to start. And that actually happened to me with business because I was always thinking, I never even finished high school. I didn't finish because I failed math. I failed statistics. I'm a terrible numbers person. Never went to college. And I was like out there trying to get a job. And I was thinking, no one's going to hire me. I've got nothing. And I learned soon and quickly that actually none of these things matter. It was people skills. It was learning. Are you able to learn? Can you prove that you can learn? Then you can do anything. And it's true. I did. I was working in a fitness company. I had no background in fitness. I had no background in business. I had no background in sales. I was so young. And I literally just went up to this company and I said to them, I was a waitress at the time and I was selling wings for a living. And I've met these people and I was like, they used to come to my restaurant all the time. They were regulars. And then I basically asked for a job and they're like, what can you do? And I was like, I don't know. Well, I said, can you teach me? I'm desperate. I wanted to get out of this, the waitressing business. It was horrible. I hated it. I didn't want to be serving platters of wings to people. Like, that wasn't my dream. I wasn't sure of my dream, but I wanted to learn something new and I wanted to feel like I was capable of doing something. And sure enough, they put me through a learning process and training, and I learned so much. I was able to start my own company where I was selling fitness supplements. So all those negative thoughts that your brain is convincing you are true are just this illusion to try to protect you. But actually, you want that thing. You want to take the risk.
And regarding all these negative thoughts, there is one that I think is very common among our age, let's say our age group between 20 and 30, which
Yeah.
is being really, really afraid of what other people think.
Yes.
How can we deal with it? Because I feel a lot of my friends, for example, they want to do that step, but they're like, oh, but what my mom's going to say, or what my friend they're going to say, or what happens with this person, and so on and so forth.
There has to be a selfishness that you know you have to be selfish in that way. For example, if you get good at validating yourself, you won't ever give a shit what other people think because you validate yourself. Now, don't become a narcissist, but if you know you're going to do something and you know that that makes you happy, all the other things are noise. And even if it's your parents and blood that's telling you, no, don't do this, I will think of you differently. In the end, the deep answer that you need to answer yourself is, does that make me truly happy? Me, not anyone else. Does it make me happy? If your answer is yes, then you need to filter out all the noise and just do it.
And what happens if that thing fails?
You try again. And then that thing fails, and then you try again. And then that thing fails, and then you try again. You make sure that you fail at least 1,000 times and then expect to win.
And how this failure thing is connected to happiness. Because I tell you my opinion, okay? I think it's key. Like if you don't fail, there's no chance you'll be able to be happy.
I agree with you because look, the thing is, pop stars, right? For example, like Justin Bieber, he wanted to become a singer. He was a young, talented kid. He had his fame and his success overnight, right? Overnight. It all came way too quickly that he didn't even know how to deal with that. So had he failed, tried, auditioned, failed, tried until he was 25, he would have been in the business longer. He would have been more equipped with knowing where to maneuver himself with the attention when it comes. He would have been able to handle the win and handle the result of actually getting there better. If you just start a business right now and you become a millionaire, I guarantee you're going to be like lost. What do you mean? I just started a business. I don't know. I haven't even learned anything. I don't know how to fit. And that's what happens usually. Any business or anybody who gets a really quick high, it goes just as quick down. What you want is a stable level of going up and staying up. And even if that's middle and not all the way up here, that's okay. But if you go like this, trust me, you're going to fall. And that's why I think it's good to fail. And that's what you could teach your kids. Fail as much as you can. Not go get it. No, go fail. If that's your goal, is I want to make errors, that's the only way you're going to learn. But if you just go, I'm going to be a millionaire overnight, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And then regarding, let's say, happiness, do you think it's possible to find true happiness and maintaining it at the same level? Or do you think it's more like a roller coaster where you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up?
It just depends how you see things. Everything goes down and up. Nothing is consistent. And even if you are happy and content, you're going to have these low moments. There's so many things that affect our happiness, problems, hormones, issues with relationships, whatever. But I guess this is an advice I'd tell the younger version of me. When it goes to a dark place, don't just keep digging. Don't keep going down there. Don't go down the rabbit hole. You know, I used to always let myself get sad and think, oh, it's okay, I'm feeling my emotions. But then I would get so sad and then I would just keep going down. And same thing with happiness. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, that means I need to stay on this high for a very long time. Things are going to change. And it's a matter of dealing with the spike is here. I'll enjoy it and I'll move forward. The low is here. I'll feel it, but I'll bring it back up here.
So if I ask you this question, do you think constant happiness is an illusion then?
It's an illusion? No, I mean, I'm sure somebody can be like constantly happy, but I mean,
You think so?
maybe someone in the world, maybe shamans are like constantly happy. I don't know. Like, I think constant fulfillment is probably very, very possible for sure. But I wouldn't want to strive for constant happiness. I think just striving to achieve it, understand it, get the fulfillment, get the contentness, and understand that it could go, but could also come back.
Okay.
Don't set unrealistic goals for yourself.
Okay.
Constant happiness, you know.
Awesome. Okay, plans for the future.
Well, we're gonna go hopefully and shoot in Oman. That's the next thing I'm working on. Hopefully, finding a project that we can work on there. I love creating art and meeting people like this, like having really cool conversations. I have some amazing podcast guests next year. Can't believe I'm saying that. It's only like 25 days till how many days left for this month? Gosh,
15 days.
15 days.
Yeah.
My God. And going to the UK for Christmas to spend some time with family. What about you?
I think just enjoy family at home.
Love
Christmas.
that.
Yeah.
You have a big family, huh?
I do have a big family and we are very tight.
What's that like? Do you guys just like do you guys fight?
Not really, not big fights.
Really?
Sometimes there are some tensions between families because of like some things in common that we have, but never really a big fight. We live in a massive garden with all my dad's family in the same spot. So actually, I'll tell you a funny thing.
Yeah.
My uncle's house is same as mine, just mirrored, and they're attached to each other.
Wow.
So it's a mirrored house, and it's just funny because I found out about this probably 3 years ago. It's like
No
after
way.
25 years of living there, yeah, it was funny.
Wait, so it's actually not a sorry, I have to ask you this. It's not a stereotype that Italian families are really close?
Yeah.
Is it true?
Not everyone. Like my family is very close. I have a few friends that unfortunately
aren't.
they don't have.
Okay.
Yeah, they aren't. Yeah.
Where are you from Italy?
I am 1 hour from Bologna. That's the closest city between Bologna and Milan in the north.
Okay. And wow. That's like so it's a small village.
It's a small village. We're probably maybe 400 people, of which half is my family.
Wow. Wow. That's how big your family is?
No, I'm just kidding. But we of course everyone knows each other there.
Yeah.
And we've been there for probably.
And are you the
more.
youngest?
No, we have we are so many cousins.
How many are you?
Inside the family?
Yeah. Don't say 100.
No. We're probably just on my dad's side, I think 20 maybe.
Okay. All right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And what's next for you?
Next for me,
you should start your own podcast because you're really good at interviewing.
I just moved to Dubai. I absolutely love the city, the vibe here. I'm super motivated to just keep growing my business. Obviously, I do content creation for personal brands, but then I'm planning to create something a little bit bigger next year for my audience, just because I really thought, in school, they taught me that the only way to basically live your life is to finish school, get a university degree, find a full-time job, 9 to 5, and then keep it until you retire, basically. Obviously, in Italy, they don't earn much money, so it's just like a very survival mode. But then I was lucky enough that I had like a few like experiences that really changed my perspective. So at the moment, I just want to crush it and like help as many people as possible understand that it is possible to make it happen with content creation. And especially it is possible to achieve dreams and to live a bigger life than what they teach you, really.
That's awesome. I love that. That's what a great note to end. You're such a great interviewer too. Thank you so much.
you.
Honestly, it was so nice. I like being in that. I wish I had switched chairs because usually I host from here.
Oh yeah.
That would have freaked me out though. Thank you so much, Simone. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Naila. I really enjoyed talking to you. I think we had some great insights regarding happiness and in general as well, parenting, because it's gonna be next for me, I guess, in a few years.
Yes, yeah. I'll be right there with you. Don't worry. I'll be your cheerleader.
Thank
I'll
you
help
for that.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening.